It is 6:30. I am calling this meeting to order. Nelson Tift will not be with us this evening, so I, Kathy Luzader, am acting as chair. We are going to start with amendments to the agenda. We have one. And we have a memorandum from Julie Sharon, who would like this added to the agenda for action. Its subject is ARPA funds. And where is this going to be in the agenda?
Wherever you want to add it in.
Do we have a preference of where we would like to put this?
We do it right away and get it out of
Let's
the
do it
way.
right now.
Okay.
So the memorandum, do you all have a copy? It's about our third payment of ARPA funds. And the total received was $393,725.26. Julie's asking for permission to transfer this amount to the general account of our sub-account, which is currently paying 0.40 at the community bank. And there will be a fourth installment within the next month.
It's actually $102,122 that she received though.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I left that out, forgive me. Which brings the total received so far to the 393, but we received $102,122.91.
I'll make a motion that we give her permission to transfer that amount from the general account to the sub account.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The the motion passes. Moving on, we are going to wait on the select board minutes. Since I was not at the 8:15 meeting, I need to recuse myself from that, and we do not have enough members right now to approve the minutes from the last meeting. So we're going to move on to the pay orders. We have a pay order change from what was originally put in. The new total is $36,104.58. Do I have a motion for discussion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Would anyone like to make any comments on the pay orders?
No. No.
No. So a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to honorable mentions. Our honorable mentions for this meeting are Nan Dubin and Tony Mazik for donating $150 to the food shelf, and to Rita Reynolds for donating items to the food shelf. This would bring us to our road commissioner's report. Do we have a road commissioner yet?
He didn't answer yet, but I think Mr. Houghton's here about address the road issue.
Okay.
I'm having a little trouble hearing anybody because of the echo when they turn up the loudspeaker or something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yes. Well, more
Okay.
or less.
Okay, so we are moving on to the road commissioner's report.
Okay, you want me to talk about what I came for?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Here's the deal. We started off with, and of course I don't have glasses on, so that's great. On the 19th of September of 2016, we went around about the dust on the road and all those things. And after great discussion on that meeting, they decided to direct the road commissioner to grade the road and salt the road always after the grade. And then that was just one situation. That was, I mean, even in 2016, I don't know how many times I've been in here on the same thing before. And then in 6/20/20, it says by consensus, the board directed the road crew to spread chloride on East Street this week. And they came up and spread a little bit of rock chloride just to make it look good. That doesn't no good, it's got to be dissolved in water.
Sir?
Um,
Sir?
What's that?
Hi, just to let you know, Phil Baker, our road commissioner, is on his way. Should we
Yeah.
wait until he arrives to go further in this discussion?
Phil's coming?
Phil is on his way.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Thank you very much. So, shall we get back to this then when Phil arrives?
Yeah, maybe just go to public comments right now.
Yes, so is anyone here this evening for public comments? Anyone?
Yeah,
Yes.
Kurt Houghton, I've got a couple of comments, but it's somewhat random. I think that the speed, not the speed limit, but the speed on East Street should be addressed. I know the county sheriff has been there a few times. Earlier this spring he was. However, I did understand from the sheriff's department themselves that they were specifically directed not to spend time on our secondary roads because they weren't big enough revenue earners. East Street has been and continues to be a tremendous speed problem. Obviously, for example, a road like Church or School Street has a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, as does East Street. But people aren't so inclined to speed on School Street because there's some amount of common sense, hopefully, that dictates their speed, apparently. But on East Street, we have actually clocked people with a stopwatch doing 55 and 60 miles an hour on a regular basis. And this really needs to be addressed because it's a pretty significant safety issue. Now, years ago, there were never any kids on East Street, but now there are a lot of little kids on East Street. Not that should be relevant, but it certainly is.
Okay.
And, you should send the sheriff up there. Doesn't have to be on a regular, on a daily basis, but if you made an appearance up there, once a week, every week, at least these people that do go by, and they're consistently the same people that go by at this speed. Unfortunately, we don't know who they are. Their cars.
Well, we have number plates for some,
We do, yeah, right.
but they don't want to hear it at the state police. Let me hand you these things that might help you. Envision one reason why they speed. There's the speed sign right there.
And this is on East Street?
Yep. And you can keep that whole thing because it pertains to the rest of it.
Okay. It's kind of covered up. I think that might be something that can be addressed.
We have a real problem on the whole street with brush and wires. Had a lot of trouble up there. You got just taken care of. I don't know how you did that.
As a resident of School Street, I can let you know that even though there's signage on the street of 20, 25 miles an hour, and there is a speed sign, people speed up and down that street constantly. But this is a problem with the sign being covered like that. I do hear what you're saying. Does anyone else have any input on?
Did you happen to notice, is it a particular time of day?
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
Well, I write down the times on the worst ones, and I pretty much know that a lot of them are in the work hours, people going to work in the morning, and
So would you say 7 to 9? 7 a.m.
7
to
to
9?
9 is a good time.
But the one's that silver car, is it silver or gray car that goes by at 50, 60 miles an hour? He's apt to be there any time of day.
They're all apt to be there anytime. I have some that look like they, on a regular basis, that I have number plates and stuff, but they're just as apt to go by anytime, and I presume they're using it as a bypass. That's what seems to be the problem. East Street is a shortcut for anybody coming down from Rutland and going on 140. And since the speed limit is 25 through here and you have a stoplight, and common sense keeps you going a little slower, you get up on East Street, it's nice and straight, go like hell.
Yeah. They don't appear to be, residents of the area. We don't recognize the vehicle. It's not locals that, you know.
But you notice it's the same cars?
Quite often, there's 3 or 4 people.
3 or 4 that are aware, yeah.
Okay.
But one of the big problems is the people walk on that road. A lot of people walk on it. And there's so much brush hanging into the road that nobody can see a car coming if they're walking or driving. And there's big limbs that are hanging over that get in the way of people that have, you know, larger trailers or trucks or whatever that have hit them continually. The smokestacks on some of those tractor trailers that come up through there.
Well, the dangerous thing about that is that the brush forces you to drive in the center of the road. Because even with a pickup, if you're at the edge of the road,
So
you're
it
getting hit
sounds,
with
it
wind.
almost sounds like there's two issues. There's a speeding issue, but there's also a brush issue.
Almost definitely, yeah. And granted, there are certainly separate issues, yet to some extent they're connected in that the hills on East Street, when you go over the hills, inherently you have to drive in the center of the road because the brush is overgrown so badly that you can't go to the edge of the road.
Is it the entire, like, what stretch of road are we talking about?
I would say, and certainly feel free to disagree or agree here, but it's pretty consistently East Street. Once you go into Clarendon, the road's big and wide and the brush is cleared
So
back.
it's the Wallingford portion of East Street?
Yeah. Clarendon does a pretty good job. They keep their sides cut back. Timoth does a beautiful job. And I don't know what Clarendon does, but their roads aren't dusty. For one, I don't think they use the stuff out of South Wallingford, maybe. I don't know. But that stuff is notorious for creating dust. And they used to get it for a while off in the pit and Danby, but I guess that's shut down.
I mean, Clarendon has a roadside mower permanently, so that helps.
They have a roadside mower, so that helps them.
Yeah, we don't have one.
Yeah, Clarendon has a roadside mower, and Wallingford does not have
Why
one.
not?
So that might be one.
Why not? I mean, they spend $300,000 on a new grader. Let's buy a roadside mower. And that isn't the only thing. The chloride is a big problem. They aren't putting any chloride on. And a big tank that holds the water can be mounted right in the back of the dump truck. They did it for years. And Phil says they don't have a tank now, and they need a tank, probably a 1,000-gallon tank, and you put the chloride flakes in the tank and stir it, and then it just is distributed down the road out of the little pipes on the back. And that's the only way to put chloride.
Okay. Well, Phil is on his way. I think we do want to hear from him on this issue before we go much further in the
Yeah.
discussion on it, if that sounds good to
Yeah, well,
everybody
we
here.
can cheer to go on the dust.
Okay? Okay, so I think right now, we're going to table this discussion
Yes,
and wait for Phil to arrive. And if it's okay with you gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and move down to our next request on our agenda, and then we're going to come back when Phil is here. We're going to return to this issue.
Eric, did you have something in the public comment?
This was actually purely coincidental. I did not know the Hopens were going to be here. But I'm following up on my letter from last year about brush, roadsides.
Is this
and
also
what
on
is
East Street?
Not being done. It is also on East Street.
It is on East Street.
Okay. So, welcome, Phil. It is good to see you here this evening. We do have a bit of a discussion going on about East Street right now.
Yep.
Okay, and so just to let you know, some issues have been brought up about East Street with the dust on the road, the brush on the road, and the speeding on the road. Now, the speeding is not in your purview, but the things about the brush and the dust might be.
Yep, well, it's, the dust and the brush are gonna be there till we get time to do them, and we did we've been doing some mowing, we're gonna get some of that done. The dust shouldn't be too bad tonight, but,
No, it's pretty good today, Phil.
Yeah.
But wait 2 days, it'll be dusty again.
yeah, that's, that's something the town's gotta make a decision whether they wanna set a water tank up with, you know, so they can mix chloride and spread it, because it's the same issue up on Seward Hill. We're talking about Seward Hill and,
So to do that, to set up a water tank?
yeah,
with the chloride,
years ago, they used to have one set in a truck. And you dump the chloride in the tank and fill it with water, dissolve it and put it on the road. It lasts 3-4 days until it rains or gets super dry.
Well, if you put enough chloride in the tank to begin with, it lasts 2-3 weeks when it doesn't have a downpour.
Yeah.
Because I've been putting it on in front of my house and Kurt sometimes. For years I've been doing it on my own. I got my own tank, I got the tractor, and I've been doing it myself. And I just shouldn't have to do that. I mean, I didn't mind it when I was younger, but I've gotten a little older lately.
as we all do. So, Phil, what are we talking about cost-wise here? First, do we have a truck that can handle that?
Oh, yeah. You've got a 1 ton or a single axle. It's still, I don't know if they still have the tank or not. I think that tank is gone. It was down there.
If you're not sure, maybe we check into that first and see if maybe the tank is still around?
Yeah, look for the tank, and then if not, I can get you a price on the tank.
Okay.
It's about, what was it, $1 a gallon? A 1,000-gallon tank's about $1,000, plus the fittings and stuff. What
Yeah, I
size
think
tank?
it'd be all of that now.
Well, no, I just printed it off the web, I was gonna bring it, but I forgot it. What size tank are you thinking?
Oh, you have to have at least 1,000, 1,500 to
Right.
make it worth doing.
And it takes a bag per 100 gallons to have it really work, otherwise you're just spreading water.
And how much is that per bag?
That I don't know.
Okay.
That, Sandy, might know. I don't think we bought any this year, have we?
I think that'd be a good idea to get some chloride. We just put all this salt on East Street all winter when we don't need it. And it's very aggravating to people that walk because it's always mushy. The road breaks up early because of it, and then you get that putty layer in the spring when the frost goes out of it because of the chloride meshing with the top layer of gravel. And it's very hard to deal with that.
Okay, so I think we need to do some further investigation. What about the brush? Is that just a time issue thing?
Well, it's a time issue. I do have my machine set up now, so I'd like to go over there and with the town's permission to spend a couple hours at no cost to the town, move my machine in and try pruning some of that down. I talked to Lee about it a week ago, that I was trying to finish this up and just see how it works.
And you think you could get out there, what did you say, in about a week?
Next week. That
Next
wouldn't be this
week.
week.
Wouldn't be
Next
this
week. My
week.
machine's gonna be home for a few days.
Okay.
Phil, Lee showed us a photo too, where
Yes.
the
Oh,
speed
you want
limit
to-
sign is all blocked by some trees, so maybe Steve or one of the road will get up there and clear
Yes.
up at least the sign.
If you look, the speed sign's
It's a
completely
start.
covered.
Oh, yeah, that's just before Lee's house, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wondered why people were assuming that the speed limit was 55 miles an hour, and when there's no sign, I guess they just assume it's okay to go like hell, I don't know.
Okay, well,
It's
yeah.
it's just people in general now. Nobody slows down.
But that's something that won't be a hard fix to do.
No, Steve, they can do that in 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. And when do you think that could be done by? Getting to that, like in a
I
week
can
or
talk to
something?
Steve tomorrow about doing it.
Okay. Great. Any other further,
Oh, sure. So, I've been here like 4 years in a row, and no offense to Phil, I understand people are busy. However, it's been 4 years I've been here. I wrote a letter last year complaining about the brush. The biggest one got taken care of probably a week later by a tractor trailer that ripped it off. But I've been up here 4 years in a row, complaining about brush. I always hear that it's a fall project. 3 falls have gone by.
and nothing's been done?
I am running out of patience. I understand that the road crew may not have the time to do it, then it's time to hire somebody to come in and do it. As Lee said, Town of Clarendon has they come by once a year, they push that brush back probably 10, 12 feet. It hasn't been done on East Street in the last 20 years.
20 years.
Hasn't been done in any street.
And to answer Lee's question, how it got done by my house, quite frankly, was I was here last year. I complained about it. People came up for 2 days, and I appreciate that. I assumed they were coming back. They did not. They got busy. I understand that too. So at this point, quite frankly, my perception is they did 250 feet to shut me up.
That's what happens.
And that's it. So, I understand we have a small road crew, then it's time the town allocated money to hire a tree service to come in and clear it.
They don't need to do that, Eric. I've been pushing for the last year and a half, at least the town select board, to buy a brush head that goes on our excavator to do that and save themselves money. But they don't want to do it, so. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not getting into who.
Well, that's what we're saying. I'm trying to get it done and we aren't getting it done because of that reason.
Right.
We
And
need more equipment.
I'm not trying to throw blame at all.
No,
I'm saying
I'm not either, it's just,
it needs to get done.
Right.
every
because
street
it
in
is
Church,
a
every
liability.
street in Wallingford is the same way. I pruned most of them with my log truck. When I'm over your way, I pruned yours, didn't I? Oh, yeah. There's over.
And quite
Four
frankly,
lives down.
and no offense, I know you're clipping roadsides, East Street hasn't been done.
That's the one,
It's
there's four more left.
It's been done where I've done it with my equipment. But I was told that was a liability by the town for me to do it.
That we put in the budget.
So,
We cut down all those trees down at the transfer station, or the ones that fell out the,
So does anyone else on the board have a question or a comment to make on this situation?
we have a whole new budget, we can certainly cut trees,
I,
use it for that. You could have some Ron Burke.
just as a point of information, Eric, we put $3,250 in the budget this last year for tree trimming and stuff, but according to this, it's all been spent already, so
I'm aware.
that doesn't help you, I know.
I know, but
It's
the
just, we
problem is, it
we
really-
did hear you, I mean,
Right, the last time it was done, I can go back to Cheryl Wade doing it 30 years ago, and our firm did half of it with our payroll. That's the last time brush was ever addressed, except when I've cut it or other people have cut it in front of their house.
Well, I do remember you here last year about this situation. I hear what you're saying this evening. How do we want to proceed with this?
wait a minute, we haven't spent that money.
We haven't
Yeah,
spent
we
any
haven't
of that.
Yeah, we haven't spent any of that money.
We haven't spent
$32.50.
So,
We have $3,250 that we could hire
so we have
somebody.
$3,250 has not been spent yet that we can use for trimming. Do we have the manpower to do it? It seems like we've got the money.
And
Well, it's something you have to hire out.
Yeah, we'd have to
Okay.
hire a tree
You
company.
have to hire somebody to come in and cut the brush.
Okay.
And if it's something that my machine will work and lay the brush back, that we can look at it after I try.
Okay.
Then we
Okay.
know.
And if
But I will be over there next week here.
long-term though, how much would it cost to get the equipment? Bill,
Bill, that brush head that you mentioned, can you go into more detail of how much that would cost?
I can look it up, I wouldn't, I'm guessing somewhere in the 25,000 range.
Okay, if you can get us a price on that,
Yeah.
because it sounds like that, like what you're saying, even though we'll make down payment, it can very much be used.
It can be used year round, you can do it in the wintertime, when things are slow,
Okay.
and you can see.
Weeks, I mean, if it's 25. to
Yeah, I mean-
have our own.
That'd be a great
As long
use
as-
for that new excavator too.
It'll utilize it more.
Well, and that's a great machine for, maintaining once it has been initially cut,
the
but,
excavator.
I didn't,
It was
you
excavator.
know, Phil, brush cutting on East Street's a little, a little loose for terminology, but, I mean, it's been so long that you're not gonna go through there with a small grinder head and do anything initially. There's, massive limbs that are way below the 13'6" elevation.
Okay.
So
So I'm
they're gonna
not
have to be
quite-
cut first, but once it's brought up to a certain
Level.
point, then the brush head would be great, and
Well-
they maintain it.
Okay, and we'll just have to see, I mean, from what you're describing, that
Yeah, we sure.
3250 is for all the brush in Wallingford, right?
Well, it's for trees.
It's for trees. So I don't know how much we're gonna get done with what you're describing, if we can accomplish all of it for that amount of money.
Let me try my machine first.
Okay, so-
They'll do up to, they say 16 inch, but leave it at 12 inch.
So,
See
the-
how things.
okay, so the plan is for Phil, not this week, but next week, to get
Next
out
week.
there, see what you can do. And then we do have money, we can proceed from there.
So it'd be good to make a plan for, not just right now and not just East Street.
Right, but a plan for the future.
Right.
For Wallingford. Yes, to make sure that we don't have East Streets popping up everywhere.
I'm-
Yeah.
Maybe Wallingford could join with another town and split up.
Anyone else want to add anything?
I do have one more quick one.
Okay, go ahead.
Completely departed from what we just talked about, however it does pertain to streets.
Take through Jesus.
And in saying this, I'm not making any reference to political affiliations or anything, but it's just the bottom line is that and I know other people feel this way, that, our town in many areas, School Street is a prime example of how it's been trashed by roadside signs that seem to be permanent. They're political signs and whatever they are. And like I say, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with any of those, or wherever they are elsewhere. But School Street seems to be an area that those are there, and they're just meant to stay there forever. And I really feel that it degrades the appearance of our town. And it's unfortunate to see that, and I would just hope that perhaps either the town could recommend to people that they're not put at least in the town right of way, which I don't think is legal anyway. Could be wrong, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. And then hopefully, and it's not like there's a ton of people here that live on School Street, I guess. I would implore people to try to think about the appearance of their town. It's unfortunate to see that clutter of, we could do the same thing on East Street if we wanted to. Obviously, anybody can do that.
Yes.
But, how unfortunate would that be if everyone decided to do that same thing? The town would be a disgrace. And there again, it has nothing to do with political affiliation. I don't care if it's the Trump sign or Biden sign, or whatever else it is. It's just unfortunate to see that happening to our town. And you don't really see it elsewhere. I don't see that as being a big thing elsewhere.
Okay.
But just something to think about, and hopefully that gets passed on, and people can sit anyway, thinking about the appearance of our town.
I don't know what people would like to respond to that.
I get complaints quite often about that, but I don't have an answer for people.
Is it legal to have signs in town right away permanently?
That's state up through their curtain.
Well, I understand that.
That's not legal. I know it's not.
That's a good point. You're totally right, but I assume, maybe those laws run parallel, maybe they don't, but
I know state, you can't have it in the road.
the law in the state right away, but, anyway, it's just an opinion. I just see it as unfortunate that our town has come to that, but it is what it is. Hopefully
Seems
it'll
like
change.
private property is private property.
But it's not private property. In many cases, it's in the right of way of either the town or the state.
So it's on the other side.
Now granted, they could move the sign inboard, and yes, of course, and I could do that on my property, I can do whatever I want, and I would encourage people to hopefully feel that they could do what they want with their property. But taking into consideration, how does that affect the appearance of the town? And is it really worth it for that, to trash our town to whatever, to prove a point, or to...
I hear what you're saying. I'm not an expert in this particular topic. It would need further research before I could really respond to it. What do people, yeah?
It's a touchy subject, I understand
I'm
that,
just
and I
not
don't assume that
sure.
anything's gonna happen.
But you do bring up the point about the right of way, and honestly, I don't know the response to that. So that's something that,
I'm pretty sure I know the answer,
Okay.
but that's, you know, it's not necessarily relevant this minute. And obviously, so, okay, it's not legal to have it in the right of way, and move it in 10 feet, and you're okay. All I'm saying is, well, it's not like I'm preaching to a group of people and imploring them to do something, so I'll leave it at that. But I'm just suggesting that if it's in town, maybe people can consider the appearance of the town and take part in that.
okay. Okay.
That's it, thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your interest in coming to meetings. I love it when I see people come and make public comments, because this is how things work.
Yeah.
You can't address things if people don't come.
I mean, we don't come very often, and it would be nice to come here and see 90 people or 100 people. but-
So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your interest and your involvement. It's important. Do we have anything else to add right now? Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any other public comments this evening? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on. I need my reading glasses.
Welcome back to the road commission.
Yes, we're going to get back to the road commissioner's report. Road commissioner?
Been doing some roadside mowing. Most of it is done. There's like 6 more little streets from Marymount down through on 140 left to do. On the first round, get pushed back once. They are also working on getting the lumber at the bridge on, it's not Kent Farm, or Prairie Camp. And I'm gonna move the machine up there tomorrow for them, so they have a machine up there to pull that deck apart. They finished with Homer Stone Road down there, widening it, cleaning and brush off it so it can be paved. I don't know if Sandy's talked to anybody on the board about the paving. He contacted me and said it was gonna run some over the 30,000, and I told him we had a little extra, but not a lot. So what kind of cap do we want to put this on for him so he has a line to draw for paving that one section of the road? Do we want to keep it at 35 and under, or less?
Looks like we have a total of 40,000, Phil, that we could use for paving. So I'd say 40,000 or less.
Well, we have 2380 of that going to line striping.
Yeah, I was thinking keeping it at 35. I think at 35 he would get the section done from Homer Stone Bridge back to railroad tracks, where the last paving we did and joined it up.
And 35 will cover it?
35.
Okay.
So I want to give him a top limit that he doesn't go over. So, and that way we have a little cushion for something else we needed here.
So Phil, it looks like through consensus, we're good with that, with the 35. Okay?
All right, and then, what was the other thing we had to tell over?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Don't forget, we'll see you on Monday. Wednesday.
Not this Wednesday, but next week we'll be there. See you later. Thank you.
The bike jumps is on now.
The bike jumps?
Oh, no, I have not done those yet. It's been one of those summers. I'll try to get there within the week.
Okay.
It just.
Is that a next week thing as well?
Yeah, next week would be at the latest. I'm gonna try to do it Saturday, but it's just,
Okay.
I've got one. Okay.
If you could just push it up,
Yeah,
the material up into a big pile, like toward the Outer Limits Trail.
no,
You know what I
that
mean?
can access for another jump.
It's okay if the jump is over in that section.
So you want it pushed towards Otter Creek? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, toward the creek.
Push it towards,
Building another jump is not okay.
But
I was just saying
it's a
leveling it.
material pile. It's what I would like to utilize the material.
So not move the jump as a jump, you just
No,
want this,
don't move it as
you just
a
want
jump. I just
the
want
stuff
material
moved closer to where you're
yeah.
gonna,
But I think what Phil said was someone might take that material and make it into a jump.
Or potentially bank turns on the mountain bike trail.
I know what you want to do with it, and
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. I just don't want to see that material wasted
well, I would.
into a smooth pile.
Well, I think that material could be used to fill the divot that was used to make the jump in the first place. That jump, basically, you can see, they took and dug a hole.
Source piles from all over that section of forest. It's not all from just one spot. There's source piles, divots all over that section of the forest. So, do what you want. I don't really care. I just know that that material would be utilized well elsewhere.
Can I ask what you were thinking of using the material for?
To surface the section of trail, because I don't see any budget for trail material. So there's a pile of material that exists in that bike jump that could be utilized to surface that mountain bike trail.
Okay.
That's kind of what I've been waiting on. So, I mean, if you think it's too much of an issue, obviously, do what you think is best, but I'll be back looking for material budget.
When would you be using that material?
At this point, I won't be using it until next year,
Okay.
so.
Well.
If it makes the most sense to just level it, do it. No complaints.
I just expressed my opinion, I think
Okay.
you should just level it, but.
I think if it's salvageable, we should try to, so.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, if we have material that's salvageable.
If people are gonna do it, they're gonna do it. If they're gonna make their own stuff, they already have. You know, if that's our biggest concern.
I feel like the real issue was the jump crossing a walking path. So
Yeah.
if the pile is out toward the mountain bike trail, where there will be minimal feature, that,
So I guess my question is, would it be made into another jump, or would it be used
it
to
won't
make
be,
a trail?
no jumps will be made.
Okay.
No jumps will be made. It's for,
It's for leveling?
surfacing and leveling, potential turns, bank turns, and, you know, filling actually a lot of holes that exist out there.
And Carol, from what I heard you say, this would be okay with conservation.
I think that they would be okay with not using it for jumps, but to do what you intend to do.
Okay.
I don't know who was on the walk with you. Was everybody there
Yeah,
with
pretty
you?
much
Yeah, and
everybody.
I think everybody agreed that what she wants to do is not a bad thing, and that it would be fine with us.
So if it's pushed off into, is it possible to push it off into the area that Morgan's talking about, without leveling it?
You want to just work it back uphill.
Yeah, just work it back toward, there's where the trail actually starts.
Then I guess the question is, what would the rest of the board like to do?
I've already said twice,
Yeah.
how it feels.
Yes, I know how you feel. How about Karen?
I think we should try to make it so it can be used to fix the other part of the bike trail. If it's something that Phil can do without, much, without ruining the trail he's fixing. I'll put it that way. Salvage what's there
Then
that's left over.
I don't know if we have enough of a board to do anything on this evening. So, right, am I correct? We don't
Right, you need all three of us.
need all
Try to meet with
three
you on it,
for
we can
this
figure out.
decision, so
Is your next meeting in 2 weeks?
Yes.
3 weeks? Or maybe more of the Conservation Commission could come
But
at that point, and Morgan?
I just don't think we can take any action tonight on this.
problem is it does delay Phil getting out there and fixing.
I
Just level it, just get rid of them. I think that the best plan is to not try and save it, just level it. Honestly,
And then we'll just
and then
expect
we'll just figure
a...
out,
we'll figure out
I'll create a
the
proposal
materials.
for material.
Okay. Okay, so I guess that's what we'll leave this for this evening. Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Let's move on. So is there anything else, Phil, for,
Not on my, I don't think there's anything I have, unless there's something I'm missing. I know they're gonna go out and try to get the rest of the seating up on Blacktop.
oh yeah, the retaining wall on Maple Street?
Yeah, is that something that's going out to bid?
Yeah, that's the question. Is that gonna be in-house or go up to bid?
Well, what's the state say we have to do with
It's a grant. You can do,
it? We can do it in-house, because the town has to match, what, 20%? We can do that in-house. That's no problem.
Okay. 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 So I think, anything else? I think that might cover everything. And we'll take you waiting for a part for the tractor for the roadside mowing. Waiting for a part for your tractor for the roadside mowing? is what
Oh,
it
no,
says.
I've been mowing.
Oh, okay.
I've been mowing the last 2 weeks.
Well, there you go. Excellent. If there's not anything else, Phil, thank you very much.
I think I'm set.
Okay. Our next thing on the agenda is the chainsaw request for Stone Meadow. And I think this is gonna...
It's me, yes. I have 2 pictures. Put them out here. So, what was told to us was we could no longer chainsaw. And that is not good, because a lot of trees come down and we need to chainsaw. I'm here to suggest that we use a buddy system, and that there's the chainsaw person and someone watching and helping just in case there's any problem. So that we can get rid of those trees that are about to come down or have come down, and make a limit on those trees with a diameter of 14 to 16 inches. That's diameter, not circumference. Okay? So we could feel free to do that if you approve it. The other thing, the picture I just gave you is a tree that was a dead tree and came down recently when the stairs they put in new stairs at the end of the Big Bog Bridge last week, and they discovered this tree that was down. It's close, if not on the trail. It's hanging on its trunk and presents a safety problem. So we would like to take that down. The tree, I did not have a ruler with me. I had my arm, and the tree was about this wide.
Okay.
So it would be under the 14 to 16 inches, I think.
Well, we have received, Sandy went ahead and emailed Wade, I'm not going to say his last name correctly. Master? Master, at VLCT about this issue. And we have a response from him. Should I read this out loud? Okay. So while this is not best practice, if this needs to be done on occasion, the recommendation is to try to limit the number of chainsaws to 1 or 2. The volunteer should be familiar with the safe use of the chainsaw. Chainsaw operators and others should be equipped with the necessary PPE. There should not be any cutting any tree that is too large beyond their capability. No climbing of trees. Those volunteering should be required to sign and file a waiver and agreement with the town before the work begins.
And you'll provide us with a waiver?
I can work something out.
Okay. Does that sound agreeable?
I think so. I'm gonna have to bring it to the Conservation Commission and make sure they approve of it, but I think that they will.
So you're looking to cut standing trees too?
Are we,
You're looking to cut standing trees as well?
Or is this fallen trees
Just
only?
fallen stuff.
there are some standing trees that probably could be cut before they become falling trees, and also there has been so much tree growth along Rim Trail. There are some other trees that need to come down. They're pine, and they're not that big. So yes, this isn't just an emergency, this is a beautification, opening up of the area. We're not taking a lot of trees down. We're cutting most of the trees that are in the meadow though, because it's going to get mown soon and those are a little in the way.
And are those big trees?
Hmm?
The trees in the meadow? What
There are
size are
trees
they?
in the meadow, yeah, they're just junk trees and they're not very big.
What do we think?
I think as long as it's people trained and capable, that's, and if, I mean, it's a conservation committee, they're gonna look at what's best for the area.
I guess the only thing I would say is that I do want safety to be an utmost concern, and if it comes over beautification, over the safety of the people involved.
No, safety comes first.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, safety always comes
Yes,
first, so.
Yeah.
I think anybody trained that's willing to do it would know what the safety limits would be.
Then I have a question. If the tree is bigger than the dimensions I gave you, but needs to come down, what happens if I ask Rob Barker, the town forester, to come in? Do we have to pay for that? Is that part of what he does?
That's a good question.
I mean, sometimes he donates his time a little bit, and then sometimes we give him some money, so you might just want to have a look at it,
Yeah,
and then maybe.
At that tree, I think we can handle that if for some reason Tom Ford, who is the chairman, thinks he's seen it. And he said, yes, it presented a safety issue, but the safety issue is probably more that it was going to fall off the trunk of the tree and go across the trail and, probably no one would be walking at that time, but it's possible someone would be.
okay. Bruce, anything you'd like to add?
So do we have to sign this waiver before Tom can cut this tree? So
Yes,
Yes, because
I will,
somebody that's doing this is.
Sandy, do you have it, or do you guys have the waiver?
No, we'll have to create one. We'll have to create one, we don't have one.
right.
Okay.
Because as Bruce said, we don't have workman's comp, so.
You really need to be sure the person doing this really does know what they're doing too. I mean,
Yeah, and it's the most,
more loggers get killed every year probably than a lot of other industries, so. It's just, if you're gonna be dropping trees, they really need to know what they're doing.
Well, this one won't be dropped, it's already dropped. The problem would be that it might roll, although it has the branches still sticking up, and hopefully that would prevent it from rolling.
I mean, does Tom have a chainsaw, a helmet?
Oh, he has a helmet, he has
Chad?
leg guards, he has
Okay,
gloves, I mean, the man's
Okay.
Iron Man underneath that.
Okay,
Yeah,
Sounds like he
he's
knows
got
what he's
all
doing.
the.
yeah,
I, on the other hand, am not chainsawing anything.
good. Oh, and there's our call, so, good talk.
yeah, just so we're not quite to her now.
Hello, this is,
Liz?
Liz, is this you?
Yes.
Hi Liz, it's Kathy. We are getting close to you, but we are not quite there yet.
Okay, so I'll mute myself until you're ready.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more buttons, or we're all set? Okay, we're good to go.
We're good to go too. I'll come see you tomorrow or the day after, I'm away for the next week and a half, so, and this probably, unless we get it done sometime before I leave, Tom won't have a chance to do it until probably the Conservation Commission meeting the last Monday of the month. Okay, we'll see you.
Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
And someday I hope to see you over there.
Okay. On our agenda next are water fee costs. Is Shane? Hello, Shane? You were here at the last meeting. I was not in attendance at this last one. Okay.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. With a lot of people were supposed to show up. I have a feeling due to Labor Day and stuff, maybe they may have forgotten or whatever, had other plans.
Right.
I just had a couple of questions from the last one. One's for Bruce. You mentioned that we had discussed this before. Can you just tell me, was that with me or where was it discussed? Did the board do it or? I have no
You and
idea.
I discussed this like 3 different times at the transfer station.
No, I talked to you once at the transfer station. I only talked to you one time, and I never gave you that green sheet. Okay? That was just the beginning.
You never gave me that sheet.
No,
We
and
can
that was,
discuss this.
we just talked in general, and you mentioned a statute for the taxes, and you weren't sure what it was, and I said, I'd like to know what the state statute is that says only 15 or 20% of taxes can be used for the water, sewer, road programs, that all the rest has to go to the school. Now, you didn't say those exact words, but that's kind of the way it came out, so, I mean, I'm just concerned that the water rates are just unbelievable, and I guess another question I had is of this board, and I guess you might know on the Prudential group, is everybody in the fire district,
So,
all 8 people?
from what I
Just so I know who I'm
understand,
talking with? Okay, so one's not? How about the Prudential committee?
I don't think Nelson's in the fire district.
right.
Okay, because,
I know you're talking about people who,
yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
I'm
talking
sorry,
about- Yeah, you weren't here. I'm
you
talking
catch
about the
them.
use, I'm talking about your meters around your houses that are now being used as revolving charge cards, okay?
so I am in Fire District 1.
Right, and most people are probably running a bill of $300, $400, $500 now every quarter.
Correct?
Correct. And this whole bond, you still pay a bond. Now, the
Correct.
bond was part of an original agreement with the townspeople,
Okay.
okay? And I can probably get into that more in another meeting, because I'd like the other people here and your full board
Okay.
to do it, but just roughly people.
Could I just ask one question?
Yeah,
please?
sure.
Do you mind?
Oh,
My question is that the fire district is its own, its own entity.
Okay.
It has its own
That
board,
wasn't-
it has its own process, it has its own meetings. Have you been to those meetings at the
7
fire
times,
districts?
and
Okay,
every time the rate went up, okay?
Okay.
It's gone up the last 7 quarters.
okay.
Now, nobody can afford that kind of water, and people in town should be able to use water. I mean, you got families, kids, they gotta be able to wash, shower, and most of your seniors won't use it. Now, Ann here, I forget her last name, she represents 25 homes or so over on, down by the plant there, where I guess they buy water from the town. And, she was saying one person's got a $900 a quarter, a house, $900 a quarter bill for water, okay? We have
I
plenty
hear
of-
what you're saying, but because it's a different governing body,
Right,
we don't set those water rates. It's coming from the fire district itself.
okay, that was my next question. Was where does the funding come from? Who controls the taxes, the bond, the meter? I assume they control the meter, you've given them, but the meter seems to be the only thing that they can raise water rates with. So when they needed $250,000 in sewer pumps because they were complaining about diapers and things being flushed in the sewer lines, that went on the meters, or a good part of it. I mean, we're talking here, if I'm only saying 300 meters, we're talking almost $500,000 is what they're pulling in a year on those meters. Those were supposed to be use meters in the original contract with and this isn't only the town, it's the state too. They were in those meetings and I asked the question, what was the rate gonna be when they were talking going to the meter, okay?
Right.
Because the first year they gave us a good deal, 40,000 gallons and it was only $125. Now, and that was in 2001. Now, normally that would be an old contract, but we're still paying on it. Okay? So that rate jumped, they told me it was gonna be $2.37 per thousand, or it could be $2.50. Well, the next year, and Sandy Spitzer gave me something from the Herald, which was the next meeting, the next year, they jumped it, when they went to bill per thousand, it went to $3.13, which, you know, I figured, okay, maybe it's around $3, you know, that's fine, $3.50, whatever. Now it's 10, and with sewer, it's 20. Okay, now, that's just ludicrous, and my question on the funding was, I assume the Prudential Committee has no access to taxes.
Right.
Or am I wrong?
Correct.
No,
Do they have access to?
Do they get anything?
pay a fire district tax.
Okay.
Oh, fire, yeah, but, okay.
So that's a fire district tax.
Yeah, that's virtually nothing on your bill. I mean, fire district tax has pretty much stayed pretty fair. I can't complain about that. You know, but, it was,
They're just like us, they have their annual meeting, they set budgets just like this,
So-
they have a water.
yeah, but they only have the
budget,
meters.
a general budget.
Am I right? They only have a water
So
meter?
Mr. St. Clair, I did go ahead and print up from last year, their annual meeting, what they sent out.
Yeah, I have
for-
that.
So you've got that too?
I have it all. I've been to 7 of their meetings, okay?
I hear
And
what
the
you're
only one,
saying.
they're telling me, basically what they're telling me is they don't get along with the select board, okay? Now, you don't tell them I said that, but that's what they were saying, and when it comes to the money, they even use sidewalk plowing money, you know, from their water fund, okay, is what they're saying. They can only use a water meter, which the water meter, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that was called a usage meter. It was for usage, pay meter reader, pay whatever money left would go to other things, of course. But it was to give people a fair rate, an equal rate for the amount of water you use. Now it's become a revolving charge card for pipes, pumps, valves, anything to do with the water system, because they can only use the meter. They can't, apparently they don't want to do a bond. Candy was very proud that they hadn't had to borrow any money, and I said to her, well, if I buy a car, I gotta take a loan out, I can't just pay out of your paycheck the whole monthly payment, okay? So, but they were proud of that, and the bond's the other one, and then this Ann from over there was telling me there's a lot of grants available for the water. And then we got this ARPA thing, which, can't they go back and cover some of the $250,000 in grinder pumps with it? You know, it was during COVID, you know,
And I
maybe
think-
reduce the water rates for people.
I think the Prudential Committee would have to come up with.
Yeah, with that, yes.
Would
But I
go
mean-
ahead and need to fill out an ARPA application.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure they only had, their only source of funding is the water. Is that
I
true?
totally, is that true?
I don't know.
The funding is the water meter. Quite frankly, with the fire district, any question that you have for them really has to go to them.
Well, no, I know that.
They are their own government.
I just don't understand your relationship with them, because they say they come to you, and you guys, you don't agree, and I'm sitting there I'm just trying to get the water rate down, but I don't know where the funds come from. And I'm gonna come in another meeting, if you guys wanna check in, I'm just looking at where their funding, if their funding source is only a water meter, we're all in trouble. Because we're gonna be paying $1,000 quarterly water bills here. Nobody will come to this town, I'll tell you, as soon as they hear about, and I'll tell you, I checked the water rate in Rutland, it's $3.09, almost $4. Ours is 10, okay? Now, what they're starting to do is the same thing they've been doing with ours. They've added $1.50 or so, $1.20 rate for pipes, okay? That's gonna, sooner or later, that will get up to 5, 6, 7, 8, and it'll kill people in Rutland. But I mean, that's not to me what the meters were used for, but I guess you can let me know on the funding, because I have only 3 sources besides the water meter. I have you have the
Since
grant, taxes, and a bond.
Since they have their own budget, they set their own budget, they send up their own funding, am I correct on that? So whatever information you're getting from them, they're in control of what they have, they put out the things that they are to the town. I totally hear what you're saying of.
No property
feeling that
taxes though,
it's-
right? They don't have any, you guys deal with property taxes, right?
It's just a fire district tax, correct? That's the only,
They didn't mention pipe district tax, they didn't say anything about that.
There's no pipe tax.
Because I mean, there's property taxes and water, sewer, and roads, if without those houses aren't worth what they are. And yet, property taxes don't seem to be something they can work with, say, the select board on, and maybe come to grips so they can keep the water rate fair for everybody. You know, they're just going off the meter, and man, they've been just killing us. I mean, it starts out at under $200 with the bond stays, but the boards, they started at $313, and I'm only at 2003 with the records, but I don't know when they started, if they all been jumping them, and it's not just this group, and that Prudential, I mean, it's been happening right up through. The bond stays, we all pay that, but the rates just keep climbing from the water meter.
So the fire district is responsible for their own budget.
Okay.
So however they go about to get that, it's their responsibility to do that.
Okay, but they can't use taxes, property tax.
No.
Okay, so that source of funding is out for them. So the water and sewer that they handle has nothing to do with the houses. See, that's what's wrong to me right there. But
Okay.
the other two, so they can seek a grant and they can do a bond without you guys?
Oh, yeah, they're
Okay,
their own entity.
well, those are pretty big, I didn't
They
know.
have their own charter.
Yeah,
They
I
have their
kinda,
own charter to run water for 100 years.
Yes.
okay, because I just kind of look at you guys as being the overall.
It's a charter through the legislature.
If they want, if there's bonds that they can put out, if there's grants that they can go for, they can do that.
Okay,
And they have the committee in order to be able to do those kind of things.
okay, so
When they
why,
went out and did the whole water thing with the Church Street well and all that, that
Yeah.
was all them. They went out and got loans and all that.
okay, so
for them.
why are they excluded from property taxes then? Is that something you guys have done with them, or is that something the state does?
Because they
like
formed their own
Bruce
fire
mentioned?
district.
Yes.
There's a fire district, fire district in South Wallingford, it's a fire district. They formed it, they got legislative approval and charter to form that fire district, and that district is in charge of the fire department, water, streetlights, snow maintenance on the sidewalks.
It's all
in the
detailed.
legislative
Right, but
charter.
no property taxes, they
No.
can't use them.
No.
See, that's, okay, that's wrong to me, but, you know, that is, you take our water and sewer away, which, we lost our sewer this winter and had to get it fixed, you're dead in the water. Those houses wouldn't be, your houses wouldn't be worth anywhere near to most people, but yet, they can't even use a portion of that to cut that meter cost down. So, I guess,
They're a separate entity.
I know, but that entity should have access to the property taxes, because they're doing things that affect the property. And yet, this board handles the property taxes, which I'm hearing most go to the school. So, which is nice, but if you don't have water, you don't have school.
But the property taxes are for the whole town,
Yes.
the water,
Right.
it's just in the village.
So that, yeah, but, okay, I don't understand that, I guess, but that's about, you know, the rest of them didn't show up, so, you know, I guess I'm the only one concerned about $400, $500, $600, $700 quarter. And it's climbing, your Prudential Committee doesn't care, they're just running it. I've been in there every time I went in, with a 50 cents, you know, on the rate, and it just keeps right on going. They're just, and I have a feeling that they did it to me to come to you, because they wanted me to come in, because they're telling me they can't get anything from you. So, and you're telling me they're not supposed to, so I still am lost as to how the funding works to pay for the water system, which is really the town, the village, whatever. It's all part of the whole, whether the fire district pays some of the fire costs, yes, but the water and sewer, that's right here in town, that should be, they should have access and kind of be working with you guys, I would think, on it, property taxes, but I don't know, it's
From
just
what I
like,
understand, they've been incorporated as their own fire district since 1906? Is that correct?
when did you guys incorporate as a select board?
What's that?
When did you guys incorporate as a select board?
Well, the town was established, the town didn't have to incorporate.
So why would a town send their water and sewer out to somebody else that doesn't, I just don't understand the property tax thing. It's right here, both you guys are, you're in the same, but yet they can't use the major, we pay $2,000 in property taxes, none of it can go to water and sewer, and we get killed on water and sewer. You know, that's what, you know, I need about, just a little note here for you that I was reading from something Sandy gave me that, I guess 67 people showed up in 2003, okay? And out of that, 43 voted for the whole bond situation, 24 against, and that was representing 561 meters, okay? So the whole bond, all these water rates that put in by $1.5 million bond they did.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, so, all right, well, I'll go back to their meeting and I'll tell them what you guys said and see what they say about that. But the property taxes, that's what's killing them. They have no other source of regular money coming in. You know, they don't want to do bonds. You know that, but I don't know, Ann said something about there's grants available besides ARPA, so maybe we can get the water down that way. So she's the only one that's not in the, out of you five?
What's that?
She's the only one not in the fire district?
Nelson's not in the fire district
So
either.
2 of the 5 aren't? I mean, just so you're talking money, but people paying the same money.
Yes.
You know, nothing that you may not make a decision the right way. Okay. I'm done.
No, I get the same water bills that you do.
And those are okay with you?
I'm not saying they're okay with me,
Well, that's far enough, you've said enough.
but maybe I need to attend a couple of prevention meetings.
Let me know when, I want to see that.
Okay.
I want to see you ask some questions, I want to hear those.
Oh, I can do
That'll be good, because you guys kind of know a little more than I do, so. Okay, no, that's good, thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you. Okay.
You would understand.
No, I guess, I see what else is.
Next going on is a recreation committee appointment. I think seeing the state of our board this evening, we cannot make a decision this evening on this.
I mean, if all three of you agree.
Okay. So the recreation committee has recommended the appointment of Shannon Pitlick. We have a copy, you've emailed a copy to Shannon for her signature. We don't have that signed copy yet.
She did sign it, I have it.
And so you do have a signed copy, so how would you like to proceed?
I have no objection to having her appointed.
One thing I would say is that she's already made statements to Sandy that the mission statement is not satisfactory and she intends to rewrite it, which is not going to be the case that the rec committee rewrites the mission statement. I mean, the reason we created that mission statement was to eliminate problems with the rec committee. They were a problem committee when we created that statement.
So this is the first I've heard of that discussion. I don't know if I should ask for input from,
Well, she sent it in an email to Nora.
She sent it in an email.
okay,
And it's something that she would have to bring to the entire committee, and we would all have to agree that that's something that we want to move forward on.
okay.
And that, as the chair, that's not necessarily my main goal for recreation, is to rewrite a mission statement.
Right. Yep,
I think that in defense of Shannon, would be a valuable member with her knowledge base and her ability to write grants, and she would be such an asset to our small, struggling committee.
yeah.
I don't disagree with that, Mark, and she needs to understand that that statement was created to show the expectations of that committee.
And it was done, it wasn't a one-person document. It was created by Bruce and myself, and it was agreed on by the
Entire board.
by the select board. It went through some revisions, and I would think that since the statement is out there, that since it's been signed on, it's agreed to.
I signed it, I agreed to it.
Yeah.
She signed it.
Other than that, I think she's a very valuable member.
Yes, yes.
She has a lot of skills and
Has a lot of skills.
heart in the subject matter.
Yes, I would just say that if we can make the focus recreation and not, what does the board think? That the focus should be on the recreation kind of not so much rewriting something you say you agree with. If you say you agree with it, then you agree with it. And if we can take it at that place, I am fine recommending Shannon for the committee. I think she'll make a very valuable member.
So do we need to make a motion to approve her?
I think that's what we need. Do we need any more discussion on what Bruce brought up?
I mean, we can't go on speculation of what she said, what she may do,
Okay.
because you never know. So if
Yeah,
we
I
all
just
agree
don't
she's
wanna-
skilled, no, I
I just don't
understand.
want to end up in a debate a month from now on what the expectations of this committee were,
And
I get where you're coming from, Bruce, I'm just,
because it was a
she is a
problem
lot of
in the
skill, and
past.
for all we know, Sumio, or something else could too. So you never know. So I think we've agreed she's got a lot that she can bring to this, that we should go ahead and make a motion that we should appoint her. And if anything occurs down the road, then we'll handle it down the road. Most documents are fluid anyways.
And is there a motion?
A motion to appoint Shannon Pitlick to the
Is
Recreation
there a
Committee.
second? I can, so I second. So those, in agreement?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on.
Thank you for being chair.
Yes, and thank you for being chair.
Now we'll have a secretary too.
Extra bonus.
Thank you. So I don't have to do both.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on, we're on to the hot weather annex. And so we're in the comment period, it ended today.
Yeah, we didn't get any comment, she just wants me to see if the board has any other, wants to present at the last meeting, just those first pages.
Are there any additional comments or input? Okay, so the annex will be incorporated into the emergency operation plan?
Eventually, yep.
Okay. And so we will see that in a future meeting?
Yes, probably early October.
Okay. Okay, next on our agenda is the Elfin Lake Public Beach request for proposals. Now, we've received 3 very detailed proposals very recently.
Yes.
And this is what I'd like to ask the board, is next steps. We have 3 very comprehensive proposals here. Do we want to hear presentations from them? Are we thinking that maybe we want to set up a special meeting in order to address this issue?
Yeah, maybe just,
I think we should set up a special meeting, give everybody time to read the documents.
Exactly.
I don't think we need presentations. I mean,
Okay,
we met with these people at the lake initially anyway.
gotcha. That sounds good. So we should set up a special meeting then to go over these 3
Yes.
proposals and see what direction we want to take. So what availability do people have for a meeting? What do you think about a meeting next week?
I'm available anytime, I mean.
I would not be available next Monday, but I could do another night next week.
another night this week?
What's that?
Another night this week?
Oh, to do it this week?
Okay.
I was thinking next week. Just to give time to be able to read over the proposals. Would other people like to meet this week, or is next week okay?
Trying to pull up the soccer schedule quickly. Didn't write it in my personal one yet.
So we know Bruce's availability, he's open.
14th.
Other than Wednesday night.
Okay, not the 14th, Of course. What about either the Tuesday or the Thursday? My husband has a meeting next Tuesday, but that does not affect me. And I'm sure the 13-year-old can function on his own.
Okay.
So, what do we think of next Tuesday? A week from tonight?
I'm looking.
Pressure's on.
I have to click on each item. TV is pointing at you. I know. I do not see a varsity soccer game that night, so it looks like I am free.
Then
I will let you know if for some reason that if there's something here I'm missing.
So what do we think? Do we want to do it at normal meeting time at 6:30?
Do it earlier, what time are games? If there is a game.
They're normally earlier, but that's fine. And I'll when I get home tonight and can look at her printed out schedule.
If we can do it early, Sandy doesn't have to hang around for 2 hours to...
Gotcha,
What
so.
about 4:30? Is that too early?
Oh,
The only
nope,
problem is that, well, I think I could do it.
I am not available Tuesday night.
What's that?
I am not available Tuesday night.
Okay, what about Thursday?
Thursday then should be good.
Let me check my Thursday, make sure it's okay.
Oh, I am not available Thursday. I could make,
Can you make it Thursday work if we do it earlier?
actually later. I would be free after 5:30 on Thursday.
Is that too late for you?
No, it's fine. There's, just keep in mind that some of these proposals, think they were gonna hit the ground running and start having
Okay.
meetings.
Oh, okay.
Would that
early
be
in-
too late? to
Should
do it
we-
On the 15th, do you think?
Should we try to do this week then?
Well, let's see, for me, say, on Thursday, I could, and how early could you do?
I get out of work at 4:30.
4:30, could you do 5? Is that too tight?
On which day? I'm sorry?
Thinking about Thursday, the 8th,
The 8th?
will that give people enough time to go over the material? I think I can do it.
2 days.
That should be good.
And we can let Nelson and Justin.
Yeah. What time are you thinking?
Are we thinking 5?
5 o'clock Thursday? Okay.
5 o'clock on Thursday? And we'll just be meeting on this issue, so it shouldn't be.
Right.
There we go.
Wait, have to get out at, let's say Tuesday? We're supposed to,
What's up?
put out an agenda 48 hours before, so,
Oh,
Do we have?
Shoot, that's what today's
Is it
Tuesday.
too soon?
what's that?
Is
Yeah.
it too soon to meet on Thursday?
I mean, you're supposed to have the agenda out 48 hours before the meeting.
and it's not.
Unless it's an emergency, so this wouldn't really qualify, so.
Yeah.
Could do Friday.
Does Friday work?
How about Friday? Discard. Let me look at Friday. Okay, so the 9th, it looks like I'm open.
I should be fine.
Is that no, let's
Same
have a
time,
plan on
Carol?
Friday night.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. So how about on the 9th?
Just people that
At
think it's
5.
a plan for Friday night.
Hey, the rest of my weeks are busy.
September 9th at 5.
September 9th at 5 p.m.?
Okay.
Okay.
Let me just get this in my calendar. Okay, we have a meeting for this issue set for this Friday, the 9th at 5 p.m. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm slow. Okay. Moving on. West Hill Cemetery lot line adjustment. So Sandy, do you want to give us some details on this since you talked with the surveyor?
Basically, she wants to know, Bruce went up to the site visit last fall.
Yes.
She wants to know whether we want to keep the gate at West Hill, eliminate it altogether, move it back to the cemetery, a different location closer to the cemetery. You know, if we want to keep the gate where it is now, lock it up, who has the keys?
You did the site visit, what do you think?
Right now, the gate sits, just off the road. The access that's into the cemetery also forks off back onto the Taylor property. The Taylors suggested that they move the gate back just so they put the gate on their section of the road into the property.
What do you think of that?
I didn't think that was a bad idea.
Okay.
I don't know, I mean, we probably could table this until the rest of the board was
I
here.
think so too. I mean,
Okay,
it's been waiting for a year
Then we're
or
going
so.
to take this issue and we're going to table it
Okay.
until we have a more complete board to come to a final decision on this.
It's been going for a year now, so I mean, it's not like it's a big hurry.
Okay. Oh, and now, do I have talk?
No, she should.
Okay, Liz, we're ready for you now. Are you still there?
I am still, I had to unmute. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Liz.
First I want to thank Sandy for putting me on tonight's agenda. Very simply, I was driving home from Montreal recently and driving through Washington County. I forget, I think it's Route 22 perhaps. There were banners going through the town, from town to town, honoring local service members. And I just thought it was such a that I emailed all the councilors in Rutland County. So Sandy was gracious enough to respond by, telling me that I think that's a nice step. So I just wanted to close the idea. I think it would be a really nice gesture for us to do perhaps along Route 7, which is highly traveled. And I just wanted to close.
Yes, Liz, so I have seen the banners that you're talking about, and I think it is a really striking way to recognize the veterans within someone's town. I don't think it's just in Washington County. I think other towns throughout New York have the same thing, and I've also seen them in other states, actually. When I was out at Cape Cod, they had, some towns had similar banners set up in their town.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, 'cause I've been in 3 different states in the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
And I've seen them, I'm trying to remember if it was Maine or Massachusetts.
And you're not the only Wallingford resident to bring this up to me. I've had at least 2 other residents say to me, mentioning about the signs, and that it might be a nice thing to do for Wallingford at some point. What do you think, Bruce?
I think it's a nice idea, but there's a lot of logistics that need to be worked out. First of all, it's a budget item.
Right, there's that.
I think you're probably gonna have to get permission from the state and Green Mountain Power to be mounting placards on power poles in the right of way.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna have to research how many veterans there are in this town.
I wonder if somebody like Tom Truex might already have that information.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But those are all things that need to be considered. I mean, I don't think it should fall on the town government to do this.
Right. So Liz, you contacted the towns in Rutland County. Did you get any procedures of how they went about doing this?
No, so I basically just emailed the town clerk to float the idea in the same way that I did it with, my local select board. So I don't know what other towns are doing. I did get a few replies that other towns would consider the idea, but that's all I know.
Okay. So do we have any next steps for Liz, or just accept her suggestion and?
And in light of the fact that we all have extremely limited time, and this is my idea, I would be happy to do research. I can't do it quickly, and I may not be able to do it over the course of the school year, but I'd be happy to look into it next summer when I'm not in school.
That sounds reasonable to all of us. If you'd be willing to do some research and then present to us what you find, Liz, when you have time to do it, I think we're fine with that.
Okay, and I will take into account Bruce's suggestions, which I think are great, and I'll kind of come back to you with additional information and we can take it from there.
Okay.
Because a lot of,
Thank you for the suggestion.
yeah, 'cause a lot of the schools do it for seniors.
Right.
So on the procedure, how to do it, how, like Otter Valley, West Rutland, a lot of them have the similar banners up for their high school seniors.
So I don't know.
In our
if
county, you might want to look out to the schools to see what permissions they had to receive.
Did you hear what Carolyn said, Liz?
I did. I would absolutely do that because I had the same thought.
Okay.
That the schools are recognizing seniors in that way, so that's a really good for me to start.
Okay. Great, Liz.
It's a great idea.
Thank you very much for bringing this up.
Well,
Sorry, Liz, you cut out, but we thank you again, and we wish you a good night.
likewise, thank you.
Night, Liz.
Do I need to hit the button?
Just hit the button, it'll hang up.
Is that enough?
That's it.
Great. Okay. Moving on, select board comments and concerns.
I have one. I don't think it goes, I'm not quite sure how to do this. I'd like to get a sign put up on the end of Church Street, no through traffic, before somebody gets run over. Because it's just been a crossover and racetrack lately, especially the last month and a half.
For the entirety school, Church Street?
Yeah, the entire, it's just crazy.
I don't think you can legally do that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
There's on other town streets. It's-
Yeah, like Sandy said, they're not enforceable.
What's that?
They're not enforceable.
Yeah.
Hello, Justin.
It's like the signs they were talking about, Jake breaks. I mean, they're not enforceable.
So you can still go back and forth up and down the Locker Street and stuff. It's not enforceable.
Locker Street, Florence?
Yeah.
If we put up a one-way?
No. Because every time a truck's on that, they tell them they can't be on.
Well, that's a weight limit thing, right?
Church Street's the same way.
Well, I mean, we could post weight limit signs.
Yeah.
There is weight limit signs on it. It's Grand Central Station between cars and trucks.
I don't think we can do the no through traffic sign. Is that something we need to look more into, or? Okay.
I'll
Would
talk
that
to
be-
the state and see
Would
how-
that be a change in the ordinances again?
Okay. So we can look
We can look
into
into
it.
it.
Yeah, let's figure out what they're gonna do. or
Okay.
can do. I guess that's the first question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So, I think we might be at that time. Do we need to
We
go
are.
to other business, or are we up for a motion?
Did you have prices on the signs for the
Yeah, I'm
church?
still waiting for a second set of prices.
Okay.
They're under a couple $100. I think the only thing I was looking at is whether we want something like a little more permanent. We can get something a little bit cheaper that lasts a year, or for a little bit more money, something like aluminum signs that'll last longer.
And what is these signs for again?
Well, Jerry Reynolds went up to Addison County and he saw some of the big ones about listing what recyclables were, and so I looked into that, and then somebody sent me a PDF of what that sign was, but then they also sent me a banned sign, like what was banned, and they said those were required to be posted.
Oh.
So we have one over there. It's not, it's just a kind of a paper sign, but I think it'd be nice to get something permanent
Okay.
for the banned one, but also the other one, larger, more noticeable, that says these are recyclables, because we're getting recyclables and garbage mixed into our zero
Yes.
sort.
Casella's doesn't provide anything, because I know for other places they have.
I can ask them.
I'm
I
just-
did send Randy,
I guess,
Randy Daycron, I sent
Yeah,
him.
I mean, I don't know for this, but I know for,
Maybe they would.
even if it's, or even more of a discounted version than what you're
Right.
looking at,
Yeah,
since it affects them.
I know, we pay them enough. I'll see if Casella has something first.
Okay. So Sandy's gonna check and sell it for the signs. Okay, I think if there's nothing else this evening, we could be up for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
This meeting is adjourned.